Driving in my car, beep, beep. Obeying the law sure is neat.
Hope no one crashes into me.
Rex into
Oh,
me.
look,
Whatever.
it's my lucky day. Plenty of time
Oh,
to
God.
get out of his way. Did I do it wrong?
All of it's so awful, guys. Start over.
Nope.
We obviously don't know the damn song.
And from the beginning.
Driving in my car, beep. And then he crashes.
That's the best part.
Guys, welcome to the Real Awkward Podcast, the best damn podcast you've heard today.
We should rename it Real Confusing.
Amanda, do the face. There it is. My name is Andy,
I'm Amanda.
I'm Ashley.
and we will say Barbara Brown one time during this episode. Ready?
Barbara Brown.
I wasn't
2 times this episode.
not doing it.
Oh, sad.
You said we could say it one time. I'm saving it.
You said we could say one time. You said that. You said them words.
Andy, so you've prepared a really special episode for everyone that only Andy knows what it is. Do you want to talk about what that is, Andy?
Oh, I do. I wanted to
Apparently
tell you
not.
guys the entire time while I was sitting here. I was just thinking, what do I do if I tell them that what I was doing and doing?
Why?
That's how Andy
okay,
always sets
Speed
us up.
Racer.
Whenever we've prepared an
I'm
episode,
Buster Rhymes.
No, you're not.
What did you say?
going to say before you so rudely interrupted with
You're
your
the mask from Crash
rhyme
Bandicoot.
busting.
What? Say it. Waiting on you now. Okay.
Every time Amanda and I prepare an episode, you set us up like that, and it makes it very awkward. To be like, you prepared a really, really cool episode. What are you talking about? And then we're like,
And you're like, ba 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 ba
my
ba
notes.
ba ba. You're not cooking. Yeah, dude.
It's like I wanted to come into it nonchalant, and now I can't.
Pork chop sandwiches. Okay, I have a question for both of you ladies, okay? Listen, I am an avid gamer, as you know. I have a YouTube channel called Pac-Man Case where I discussed retro video games. I have not done that for 6 months, so throw that out
Yeah,
the
because you're
window.
downsizing your collection.
Because I'm busy running a game store
Because you're
now.
a faker.
I made it till I faked it. That's
right.
Instead of buying games, you're selling games.
I got a question for both of you, okay?
There is no amount of money that you could pay me to do what you're going to ask me to
No,
do.
you said that was an after hours episode only. We couldn't talk about licking buttholes.
Okay, what were you going to say?
So Amanda's shaking her head. Ew, she got the stank face on.
I'm sorry. It would have to be like enough that like my children's children would never have to work again.
100%.
No, thank you, ma'am.
100% you'd do it for $500,000.
Wait, how did we get into this conversation?
Okay.
Depends how broke I am at the day. I
Okay,
guess.
yeah. Right? See, that's what I'm saying. Okay, all right, Ash, we won't continue talking about this. Join our after hours podcast if you guys want to know how much we would do to lick a butthole. Okay, so here's the situation. Okay. I like video games. You guys like video games. A lot of people do collecting channels or podcasts where they're like, let's talk about the top 10, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I want to know, what did you guys play when you were kids that you're like, that was fire? Like when you go grab a game and you want to play a game or you're sitting down with friends and something's on, what hits you? So, the reason I bring this up is because early in the podcast career, Amanda and I were like, Donkey Kong is the shit. We love Donkey Kong. And Amanda and I sat there playing Minecart Carnage, and we were struggling to get past it. But we remember loving that game so much. Do you guys have a game like that like either brings people together or something you remember? Because there's been shit that Ash just brings up out of nowhere, Amanda, and I'm like, what? She's like, I loved that game. I played it on the computer all the time. And I would always be like, what? She's like throwing King's Quest out there at me. She's throwing Jazz the Jackrabbit out at me. Like this stuff that you knew that I never played.
What's the one that I recently downloaded on Xbox and you're... What? Oh, God.
Was
called?
that not King's Quest?
No.
King's Field?
Quest is a click one.
Kingsfield.
No, there's no kings.
Kings and queens. Queens of the Stone Age.
Stop talking about kings and queens.
Okay. I did play the hell out of King's Quest.
Okay.
and
know what that is.
Jazz the Jackrabbit.
Yeah, see, because you knew about that and I didn't.
They were DOS games.
Right.
And then, oh my God, what is that called? Commander Keen.
Oh,
Commander
Commander Keen. And I played it and I was like, what
I was
is
like,
happening
you have
right
to
now?
play this game. I played it all the time as a kid, and I downloaded it and played it, and it is so hard.
Yes.
And then he gets on and he's like, this is so boring. I will not continue to
It's
play
like
this.
you're in like trees and grassy fields and you're like fighting tomatoes and carrots out
so
of nowhere.
This particular,
So confused.
this particular Commander Keen game is he's dreaming.
Ah, okay.
Like he
okay.
doesn't want to eat his vegetables.
Yeah.
And so he has to go to bed, and he dreams about all of these vegetables attacking him.
That makes more sense now.
That's why he's in like bunny slippers
Without
and pajamas.
context, I was confused.
I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like one of those like free Chex Mix games that you get in a cereal bar.
Yes. Yes.
It probably was.
Oh my God, that's fabulous.
Do you remember those
Okay.
games? I love
Yes,
those.
I do. They were awful, but they were fun.
I
what?
also,
What solitaire deck did you guys used to pick? What
Oh God, the roses.
Oh, what was the options? Because I could remember.
There's the castle, the seashell, the roses, the
the robot.
robot.
I probably picked robot. I bet I did. I bet I did.
I did the
Probably.
haunted house. I know that must be
Oh,
shocking.
that makes sense.
But then I
That
would do
makes
the
sense.
robot a lot too.
oh,
that
the
makes sense.
fish.
Oh, the
That was
fish.
one.
Okay. What were you saying?
What was I saying?
You were about to you're about to talk about
Sorry.
another game.
Oh, I play the hell out of Tetris.
You did play Tetris, and you're really good at Tetris. Actually,
I am good at Tetris.
You're very good at Tetris.
because somehow I know how to stack boxes properly.
You're very organized.
I'm really good.
individual.
Andy always uses my skills when he needs to like.
Oh, we played
Fit
Tetris
things
99,
into a box.
and she destroys at Tetris 99. You're good at that. You haven't even played that in a long
I
time.
haven't played that in so
Is it
long.
still
I
on,
mean-
is it
Yep.
still available?
Yeah, it's free. I think it's at one of the free Nintendo online things when you have the membership. Yeah.
It's free when you pay
well,
for
well,
a
you have the
membership.
membership, but then there's games that are free with
Well,
the
because
membership
they used to
or
have
whatever.
the Super Mario one, but they stopped offering that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Anywho,
What about you, Amanda? Are you a Tetris fan?
I like Tetris a lot. I used to like 2-player Tetris. That was always really fun.
Is that Tetris Plus where you're fighting each other and you can add crap to each other's
Yeah,
stack and then
I don't remember it being the original Tetris for the
Yeah.
NES, but
Yeah.
I think we had it on the Super Nintendo, and it was 2-player, and it's basically like what you would imagine it to be, where like if you like do a big match, the other person gets like a stack of stuff, like
Yeah, okay. That's very much like Tetris.
Yeah.
Tetris
Tetris
99.
99, yeah.
essentially, yeah, literally, it's that, but like
Yeah,
just not on
garbage
steroids.
blocks.
2 players instead of 99.
Yeah, that's a lot
Yeah.
of players.
So growing up, my dad had a Nintendo. And my dad had Monopoly and Battleship, and he had like a Caesar's Palace game.
Oh, you played Caesar's Palace too.
Oh, I still have it.
Yep.
And so he had those, and then we had Super Mario and Duck Hunt, and then Amy had like a Barbie game, which was like surprisingly difficult.
Okay. I
And
don't
then
think I've ever played the Barbie game.
I had DuckTales, and I think that I don't remember. But then, so back in the day, you could rent consoles from
Right,
the local
yep.
video store.
Yep, I remember
And
that.
my dad rented us the Super Nintendo one day, and it had Donkey Kong Country on it. And he went home and played it, and I think he rented it for us, but we had to end up renting it twice because he wouldn't stop playing Donkey Kong.
Oh, hell yeah.
And honestly, that game still looks good.
It's beautiful.
like-
you don't
okay.
Ash, oh, hold the phone, Amanda.
I'm
Ash
not
is looking at us
saying-
as if it didn't
I'm
hold
not
up.
saying that
And I disagree.
I'm saying for a Super Nintendo game, like of the time, that game looked incredible.
No, still to this day looks
It
incredible.
still looks
Okay,
good.
okay.
Defend yourself.
I will say this: the gameplay itself, yeah, that holds up because
Yes.
the game is awesome.
Yes.
The menu though drives me bonkers.
Like the
Could
song
be a lot-
or
no, it's so like pixelated and like
oh, sure. I
It's no
get it.
Commander Keen, okay?
a Commander Keen is
no
way more
Commander
pixelated. I will tell you
Keen.
that.
So,
But I don't know why that meant the menu screens
Bothers you? Interesting. I will say the title screen does not look that great.
no.
Title
Yes.
screen. What?
The-
What?
What?
Dun, dun,
Dun-dun-dun.
the best.
dun, dun,
And it just plays
dun,
forever, for
dun,
eternity.
But I will say before, like kind of around that time before that in elementary school, we did not have a home computer until I was in like middle school. And so I would play PC at school and I played the shit out of Oregon Trail.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I
played a
was
lot of
obsessed with
Oregon
Oregon Trail
Trail.
and I played a lot of like the point and click like mystery games.
Okay.
So once we had a PC, I had Oregon Trail, but then Megan bought Amazon Trail, and it was the same idea, but you were in the Amazon rainforest.
Oh,
But
okay.
Amy had like some Barbie mystery game, which I used to play because it was a mystery. But I had Where in Time as Carmen Sandiego, and I loved
Yes.
those games.
Was that on
um,
Super?
No, this is all PC.
On
This is
PC.
PC,
I played
okay.
that
This
too.
This is the Campbell family went to CompUSA, honey. Okay.
We bought
so-
ours at Sears.
So I had that, and then there was a couple other like Nancy Drew point and click mystery games, and I would play those all the time.
Dude.
They even
The
had
PC
CSI
was
ones,
the
and I
bet.
played
Like
those.
I would probably say we played computer more than I played console back then. Like
Yeah.
I had a time there because we did the same thing. We went to Sears. We bought a 333 megahertz processor with like 4 gigs of RAM, and we were like, "We're living the dream."
And you needed like a piece of furniture just to put it on.
Yes, and
Oh, yeah.
I think my dad custom built which we had in that corner for the longest time. Custom built one for it, and we played. You Don't Know Jack.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Ridiculous amount of times. I played Leisure Suit Larry, which I shouldn't
Oh,
have been playing
shit.
that game.
Who
I
bought you
should
that?
Not have been playing. Yeah, my dad.
Oh shit.
Sounds about right.
And then we were playing Monkey Island, Curse of Monkey
Oh,
Island.
Monkey
which-
Island. The other one we
so
used to
good.
play as a family was Outburst.
Oh yeah, Outburst. I remember
That was
too.
really fun.
Did you guys do PC games often then? At your
I would
house?
say
Yeah.
mostly PC. My brother was a really big computer nerd.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of them
This
came
Chadwick?
from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also played a lot of Chips Challenge.
What's Chip's Challenge?
It's like this little guy that has to go around a level and like collect chips.
Deep story.
But then he runs into like bad guys. and
Right.
they're, like-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Point and click with the mouse.
It's
though?
like
No,
Minesweeper.
it's a keyboard.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Dude,
Minesweeper.
Minesweeper.
Oh, holds up.
Because I
Holds up.
actually know how to play. It's a great game.
It's
Yes.
really fun.
It's really fun. And then sometimes I would, once we got internet, I would play like online games.
Like what? Because I didn't play a lot of that. My friends in high school were playing WoW, and I was not into that at all.
No,
We
it
were-
was like no, it was not with other online people.
Oh, okay.
Like you would go to like Microsoft Games,
Like
Yeah.
Flash
yeah,
games.
and they had just like games you could play, like
Mm-hmm.
click, and then it would load it. And I played one called Lenny Loose Jocks,
Okay.
and it was this like kid from Australia, and he's just like going around his town, like visiting different places, and his name was Lenny Loose Jocks because when he would jump, he would like take off his pants and like use them as a parachute.
okay.
And he would go spelunking in the caves, and
That's awesome.
there's so many like quotes that
How old
ruminate
were
in my
you?
head like from this. I don't know, probably 10.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So 96 ish, 95, 96.
sure, if that's
Yeah.
when I was 10.
Okay. I think so because you're born in 86. So I imagine so.
Yeah, we had a computer. I want to say like we didn't get a computer until 7th or 8th grade. But we didn't get internet until high school. So
Dang. Okay.
like where I was like by the time we got internet and when we did get internet it was shit. And so I wasn't playing games online with people for a really long time. I wasn't like gaming with people.
Right.
For a really long time, the only consoles we had were ones that I would get at like a garage sale.
Oh, okay.
So we
Okay.
had the NES, we had the SNES, And then years later, I bought a Sega Genesis, and so I played the shit out of Sonic, and I used to have this like motocross game I used to play a lot.
Motocross. I'm trying to remember that one.
It was like a long racing, like like Cruising USA.
Yeah.
That, but like a little less like flashy, but it was like motorcycles. I don't know.
Interesting.
And
Was
then
I don't remember.
And then I had Echo the Dolphin.
Ooh, Tides of Time. Wait.
Just the original Echo the Dolphin.
Oh, maybe that was the first one. Yeah, Echo the Dolphin, which actually, it's a hard game.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah, it's a hard game. Did you ever play Echo the Dolphin, Ash?
Nope.
Oh, sad.
And then I didn't have many Sega games, I think, and then I had some like football game. And then when I got older, I found a Dreamcast at a garage sale. And so
that's
was
a great find back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. I think I paid $15 for it. Okay.
Oh, it's so
I had
awesome.
Crazy Taxi. I had Sonic Adventures. I had
Let's have a crazy ride.
I had a Buzz Lightyear game.
Buzz.
But then I got a PS2 when I was in high school.
Okay, sure.
And then it went from there. But like the SNES was like my console that I played when I was a kid. Like my dad, they eventually bought us one, but it was the one that I played the most, and I still have that SNES we got as kids. My go-to games are Donkey Kong Country.
Yep.
I love Yoshi's Island.
Wait, now Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, or 3? Like, what's your jam?
Okay. 1 and 2 are pretty much tied for me.
Okay.
3 is a little lesser.
Yeah.
But Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World. I used to love this game. It was called I think Claymates or Clay.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. Yep.
Yeah, you were like these cutesy little clay animals,
Yep.
and then Clay Fighters was really fun, but we weren't allowed to play that one.
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit more adult oriented. Yes.
There was this Mickey Mouse game that I used to like, where it was like, I think Minnie got captured or something, and you're in
Is
like
it
a fantasy land.
Castle of Illusion.
No. Forbidden Kingdom, or maybe was Castle of, I don't know. I'll look it up. But and then the other game that I played, I think the game I played the most on the SNES was Aladdin.
Oh, but that one's so good. I will sit through an entire playthrough of Aladdin because I enjoy it so much.
Aladdin
One of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time.
Yes. Aladdin is a game that I have played, I think, more than any other game.
Right?
Period.
And what's crazy is like it's a movie IP and it ended up being a banger.
The music is good.
Yep.
Like, and it's fun, and I actually prefer it to the Sega version.
No, it is better than the Sega version. I will agree.
I agree. And yeah, I mean, we had a bunch of other games. It was like I shared the console with my sister, right? So we had a lot of the movie games. So we had like Beauty and the Beast, we had Lion King, we had Jungle Book. I had the Page Master game, which was like surprisingly difficult.
Yep, I remember that one. Macaulay Culkin, right?
Yeah, my dad had a couple games that he would play. My dad would always, every console my dad's ever had, he gets Monopoly.
Okay.
And then he'll play a 2-player, but he'll name the computer character Bitch. That's what my dad does.
That's your dad. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Did you have a Super Nintendo growing up?
We had a Super Nintendo. I honestly can't remember any games we had beyond Donkey Kong. Like, I'm trying to rack my brain.
You didn't have Mario World?
I don't think so.
See, I didn't have
I
Mario
think that
World
Donkey
either.
Kong came with the console.
It did.
Yep.
And that was all we had.
Yep. I didn't have Mario World either. I got Killer Instinct, which is a fighting game, so I never got to play Mario World growing up. I didn't know anything about it. So
I feel like maybe my brother had like Mortal Kombat.
yeah, which I'm surprised your parents would have let him play that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, boys are sneaky.
But the Super Nintendo one didn't have blood. The Sega Genesis
I
one
think
did.
couldn't you turn it off?
Maybe on the Super Nintendo. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So the other game that my sisters and I used to fight about a lot on the Super Nintendo was Mario Paint.
Oh, Mario Paint's so good. Did you ever play Mario Paint?
No.
It's so good. It's dumb, but it's good. It's super dumb.
It literally was like, you're like, I paid for this. Like, it's literally Paint, like MS Paint on a computer.
With a D-pad.
No, it was a mouse. It came with a mouse.
Oh, you're right. It did have the mouse. I'm so dumb.
And
I literally
so
sell them at work.
So we had it and we would fight over it. And we had to start creating like timers of like how long you could play for.
That's
so
awesome.
with Mario Paint, you had like MS Paint where you could just like go free draw stuff, but then they had like essentially coloring book pages.
Yep.
And then they had a couple like a music maker, and they had
Was there an animator on that one too?
I think so. And then there was like a
Yeah.
fly swatter game.
Yep, I remember that one.
Yeah. Yeah, we
You-
used to play all that stuff a lot.
So wait, did you guys have a Nintendo? Regular
No.
Nintendo? Did you have a regular Nintendo? The
Yes.
first Nintendo?
Yes.
You did, but not a whole lot of games that you remember during
It was
that
my
time.
dad's. So
Yeah.
we had the games that he liked, but like my dad was never like a sports game guy.
Right.
But we did not. I didn't have a lot of like the older. Like now that I'm older, there's a lot of games I like for the NES that like I didn't even know existed when I was a kid.
Same.
The Super Nintendo hit right when I was at the right age,
Yeah.
and so I would rent games constantly for the Super Nintendo. So I know I've played a shitload of them.
Sure.
But I only owned so many at the time.
When did you actually get your Super Nintendo though? Did you have to rent it for a couple years before you got one?
No, we rented
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
I would say the Super Nintendo as a kid, the Super Nintendo was like the only console I had like right when it came out. So it came out, my dad rented it like twice, or I think was going to rent it again, but it was expensive to rent back in the day.
Yep.
It wasn't $10. I think it was like $25 or $30.
It was. I agree.
And-
I think so.
I don't remember, but I know the next thing we know, my dad just comes home with one. So I'm
That's
sure.
a rad surprise. It wasn't like a birthday or Christmas. It just comes
No,
home.
he just comes home with one. So I
Nice.
imagine that it was kind of like it doesn't make sense to keep paying for a rental.
Oh, okay.
like-
Yep.
But for a while, I think we only had Donkey Kong. I don't think we had anything else until my dad was able to start finding them secondhand.
Sure.
And then, you'd pick them up at the swap meet or, whatever for nothing.
Right. There was probably a lot of bangers, especially when the 64 came out. You could get
Oh.
lots of cheap Super Nintendo games back then too.
That's why I have a
Um,
good chunk
yeah.
of them. That's why I have.
I was the same way as you, Amanda. We rented from a grocery store. We had a little VHS/video game rental place inside the grocery store, and we were able to rent one. But the Super Nintendo was always checked out. So we always had to go Sega Genesis. So that's why we ended up with a Sega first. And my dad had the original Nintendo, but it was always his games. Like we didn't have the Marios and the Zeldas. Dad only liked science fiction games. So it was like science fiction
Interesting.
shooters or like
Bucky O'Hare.
that type of stuff. Like even though it was good, but it was like I missed out on so much Mario stuff because then we also didn't have a Super Nintendo till way later. So
See, we
I was a
didn't-
Sega kid for that reason.
My cousins had a Sega,
Yeah.
and so I wouldn't play Sonic unless I went over to their house.
Oh, I see. Yep.
But yeah, and then not too long after the N64 came out, right?
Yep.
And I didn't have one, but my best friend did. And so I played over there. I remember we would play Bomberman, Snowboard Kids,
Nice,
and we
yes.
played Snowboard Kids the most.
Snowboard Kids is still a fantastic game though. That one
It's
and number
good.
2, they hold up.
They are
They
good.
hold up.
And then when I got older, like Casey and Timmy and Billy and I, we would all like hang out and play Mario 64.
Oh, sure.
And that was always really
Yes.
fun.
Well, and I remember being blown away by that game when it first came out too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys? Oh, wait, that's right. You had a PlayStation, didn't you?
PlayStation 2.
No, PlayStation 1. I thought that you had a PlayStation 1 because you remembered stuff like Crash Bandicoot and Lara Croft.
Then
and,
yes, because those are the two games that we played. And Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Good
You
one.
pop it in and you like know all the tracks too. Like,
Did either of you have Game Boys or anything?
did you have a game? Did you have any handheld stuff?
I had a DS at some point. I don't remember how old I was when I
When I say I was Sega kid, I was only Sega kid. I didn't have a Game Boy growing up. I had a Game Gear.
You didn't have a Game Boy.
I didn't have a Game Boy. I got a Game Gear because I
Wow.
went to the dentist, and when you were at the dentist to get you to calm down, they would give you a Game Gear and you'd play it. And my mom's like, if that's going to calm him down, then I want that at home as well. And so they ended up getting me a Game Gear before anything else. So that was my like handheld console. While we had the regular Nintendo, we had the Game Gear. Then I got a Sega Genesis after that. But yeah, I never had a Game Boy, so I missed out on all the Game Boy game stuff too.
So somebody I knew had a Game Boy, but then like right after, like I was young and the Game Boy Color was coming out, and I was like,
Yeah.
I have to have one. And I remember it was like one summer, and like I was doing jobs to like make money so I could buy a Game Boy because they were like
Dang.
they were like $100.
Yeah, but that's
you know,
a lot back
for
then.
an elementary school kid.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to make $100. So my neighbors at the time, they were cool. They went on vacation and asked me to dog sit for them.
Yeah.
And I did, and like I think they knew I was trying to earn money, so they gave me like $100 bill. And, you know, when you're a kid, you're like,
whoa,
So-
I'm rich. Yep.
My mom and dad, I remember, took me to Toys R Us. I remember the memory with my dad. My dad took me to Toys R Us, and I wanted the lime green Game Boy Color,
Yeah.
and they didn't have it, so I got the purple one instead. And it was like all my money. And
Right.
I remember my dad was like, "Well, you need a game."
It didn't come with Tetris, right?
No, they did not come
Oh.
with games.
Oh,
I remember my
okay.
dad just being like, "Well, you need a game to go with." And
Right.
so I remember I picked out, he was like, "I'll buy you a freaking game." Like,
Yeah.
and I picked out this game called Montezuma's Revenge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was like a $15 Game Boy
Yeah.
game. And then he didn't realize that it didn't come with like a case. And this is like classic kid logic, okay? And he was like, "What are you gonna do for a case?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep it in the box until I can buy a case. Like,
Right.
I'll just keep putting it back in the box." And so they had like a little case thing for it, and so he bought me that too. But then I remember specifically, my dad used to go to the pawn shop, and
Uh-huh.
I used to get Game Boy games at the pawn shop for $2 for nothing.
Oh, there's probably nothing. Yeah.
And so not too long after, I remember I got Link's Awakening. And
Oh, that's such a good game. Too.
I had played A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo,
Right.
and I really liked it. But when I got Link's Awakening, that was like my Zelda game.
Yeah.
And I was like, this game's amazing. I love the music, all this stuff. And so I played the shit out of that. And then not too long after that, I got Pokemon Silver
Oh,
for
okay.
the Game Boy Color. And I had like a Mario. I had like Super Mario All Stars. I had Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
But dude, the Game Boy was like my shit. And you know the meme, like, this isn't even my final form. Like, I had
Yep.
the little gooseneck light that like came around
Yep.
the top.
The worm light. Yep.
I had the little magnifier. I had extra batteries. I loved my Game Boy.
I was the same way with the Game Gear. I literally had the magnifying glass, but
Yeah.
it was already backlit, so I didn't need
Okay, I was
a
gonna
worm
ask you
light,
that.
which was super awesome. But the battery sucked. It was 6 batteries in the Game Gear,
Whoa.
and you only got like 2 hours out of the thing for 6
Wow.
batteries. Yeah, and it was notorious for the speaker to go out or for the video to have issues and stuff. So there's even at work we have like 7 Game Gears that are just dead.
So
sitting
were
on the
they
counter that we need to
cartridges?
fix. They were. Yep. They
Okay.
looked exactly like Game Boy cartridges, but they were a little bit bigger, just a tad, and they had kind of like a bulbous top a little bit
Okay.
to them. But I had like 5 or 6 games that I couldn't stop playing. It was like Streets of Rage, Sonic 2, Sonic Drift, which was like Mario Kart, but
Okay.
with Sonic characters. And then Mortal Kombat, I could not stop playing that game all the time. And then I had Columns. Do you remember Columns? It was like Tetris, but it was like 3 jewels that would drop down and you had to match them.
So
instead.
it's Bejeweled.
It's basically Bejeweled. Yeah, basically Bejeweled.
So did
Yeah.
you? Okay, I remember. I think it years ago, like when I was a kid. somebody I knew had a Game Gear, and I remember
Mhm.
looking at it, and they were playing an X-Men game. Was there an X-Men
Oh,
game for it?
Yes, that was the other one I
Okay.
had, was the X-Men game. And that game though was like, I was in love with the X-Men
Yeah.
from the Scholastic Book Fair, and I had the Game Gear with the X-Men, and like and I've been an X-Men fan for so long, but I remember I loved that game and it held up. It still holds up.
Is
Like,
that
it's
the
still a
arcade
fun
one,
game.
like the side scroller?
It's like
the
beat 'em
beat 'em
up
up.
side
Yeah.
scroller. Yep.
I
Yep. I
got,
think you could
um,
play as 3 different X-Men in that one. Maybe 5.
Cyclops. I think Wolverine, Beast,
Gambit, and somebody else.
Rogue,
Psylocke?
maybe. I don't remember. Oh, Psylocke.
Yeah.
I got Lincoln plays that now.
Oh, that's
he
awesome.
loves it. So yeah, because okay, so then I had the Game Boy. Like basically, I played the Game Boy when when everybody else was like playing the N64. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
sure. Yeah, but that would have made the Game Boy games really cheap then.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had
that would've
I
made
had a
them, like-
good chunk of Game Boy games. Like I had like
Yeah.
a stack of them, and then it went to Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, and that I skipped out on all of that. I didn't have any of that.
Oh, I had all of them. I had
Yep.
the color. I had an Advance. I had an SP, which was like backlit.
Yep.
I had, and then it turned to the DS.
So
but,
that's when Ash jumped back into it
Mhm.
because you didn't have any of that other stuff, but you had a DS.
Yeah, I honestly don't even remember how I got the DS or
Well, I think my mom bought it for you for Christmas.
no, I had one before that.
A pink one, right? Or a white one?
I had a pink one.
Okay.
And I remember having like what was it, Brain Game or something?
Yeah,
like
Brain
that?
Age.
Brain Age, thank
Yep.
you. Yeah, and honestly, I feel like that was the only game I had.
Well, I feel like that's you. You would have loved that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I think eventually I had like Super Mario and
Yeah, you probably had New Super Mario Brothers, and you had
Professor
Mario Kart.
Layton.
Yes, you played the Professor Layton games. I was
Shout
introduced
out,
to them
those
by
are
you.
the best.
Yes, but because they're a point and click, right?
They're a puzzle game.
yeah.
Or
yeah.
kind of like that. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, dude. Okay, on my DS, I had so many like search and find games. I had word search games. I've played every Professor Layton game. I love them.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. There's 3 of them, I think, on the DS too.
No, girl, there's way more.
No, really? I thought there was only 3 on the
There's-
DS, not the 3DS. The DS. I
Okay,
think there's
maybe,
just 3.
maybe.
Yes.
But there's even one for the Switch. Okay, I have that too. And so, yeah, no, I loved my DS. I actually really liked the DS because it had the download play option, and
Yes.
that was really
Yep.
fun because like if one person had Mario Kart, like 3 other people could play with you, and yeah, you couldn't choose many things,
Yep.
but it was fun. And I liked because I had Super Mario 64 for the DS.
Yep.
And that one was really fun because you basically played it was like capture the flag, but with a star.
Oh, okay.
And that was
Sure.
really fun. And that's what I liked. I missed that kind of thing.
Did we, Amanda? Did we go to PAX together?
Yeah. I think
Right?
so.
Didn't we bring our DSs and do download play Mario Kart sitting in the parking lot, or like we were sitting in line for games? I swear
I
we
think
did.
so. We probably did.
I
that,
swear we did.
I
'Cause
think
that-
that was with Sam and Jeff.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I apologize.
With who?
Sorry.
Sam and Jeff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry. I
Not me?
apologize.
No.
Yeah, I forgot who it was.
It was a good memory. We just assumed it was with you.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
Sometimes I have to remind myself that like we didn't go to high school together. Like I'm like, oh wait, you guys weren't there for that.
well, yeah, because you're younger too. So
Yeah, I just
and
assumed
we didn't
that.
know her.
No.
oh yeah, that's right.
I
forget
just
that,
assume if
too.
something happens in my life now, you guys were probably there.
Yeah, I feel like we've known Amanda for like 40 years.
So
Um,
yeah, okay. So Ashley, you had a PlayStation.
Yes, apparently.
Did Andy? Did you have a PlayStation?
I had a PS1. I only had 3 games though. I had Crash Bandicoot. I had Metal Gear Solid, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. And then I had Marvel vs. Capcom, and I just played
nice.
the shit out of the fighting game stuff. And I had more like as I owned the console, but those were like my first 3 like starters. So yeah.
I did not get a PlayStation 2 because I've never owned a PlayStation 1. I just never.
Oh, okay, sure.
I had a PlayStation 2. Okay, so back in the day, I had 2 like main, like, of my besties were Mikey and Jason. And the three of us heard about a game called Kingdom Hearts. And
okay.
it was like Disney meets Final Fantasy. And we were like, we have to play it. Well, nobody owned Kingdom Hearts, and none of us owned a PlayStation 2. But Jason's brother had one. So we went to like Blockbuster, rented the game, and then we like took his PlayStation 2 and then like took it over to Mikey's house. And we played Kingdom Hearts, and like we were obsessed with it. We were trying to beat it. It was like, oh my God. And then we would go over to like Jason's house all the time and like play Kingdom Hearts or like play the PS2.
Yeah.
And I wanted one so bad. And then I don't know, something must have happened financially. But for Christmas, I'm opening gifts, and like I didn't have many, which is like whatever. But I remember my dad was like, "Oh, open that one first," and it was Kingdom Hearts, like the game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I remember like my dad being like, and I remember I was like, "Why I can't play this?" Like,
right.
And my dad was like, "Well, you've been running it so much, I thought you'd like it. I thought you wanted it." And I was like, "Thanks, Dad. Like, thanks."
Yeah,
and then
it.
I'm sure they could tell I was disappointed.
Yeah.
And so I remember like my dad being like, "Open that one," and it was like a PS2. And I had that forever. Like I played the shit out of that. I had so many games, and because you could get like the greatest hits and shit really cheap.
Yep. Yes, you could.
And so I'd have it. I never owned an original Xbox.
I didn't until I was in high school. Like my senior year, I think, is when I finally got one. But I didn't have a lot of games for it.
So I had the PS2 until I was working at Blockbuster and bought my Xbox 360.
Oh,
in my opinion, the PS2 is only good for one thing:
watching DVDs.
Guitar Hero.
Oh, Guitar
Oh,
Hero.
correct.
Wait, did you play Guitar Hero before we met?
Yes.
Okay, so did you have a PS2 at Amanda's house then?
My roommates had a PS2, and they had Guitar
Oh,
Hero.
and you played the shit out of that, didn't you?
Sure did.
Is that
I
the only
love
thing you
Guitar
played, or
Hero.
did you play any others?
I don't remember. I know that I also played a lot of DDR with them,
Oh,
but I don't
yeah.
remember what system that was.
That had to have been the PS2.
I think it was.
Yeah. had
That's
to
what
have
I
been,
would
yeah.
assume.
Wait, did
Yeah.
none of you have a GameCube growing up?
Okay, I did not have a GameCube until
Yeah.
a little after the fact. So I think I had
Yeah.
one before my PS2,
Okay.
but it was probably right around there. But I remember I found like a old bundle deal at Best Buy, and I got it for really
Oh,
cheap. It
yep.
was the silver like Pokemon edition.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
That was the Gale
and,
of Darkness one, wasn't it? I think.
it had like Lugia on it, I think.
Yeah.
But I loved my GameCube. It was really fun. But for me, the GameCube was a really fun one to play like a handful of games on. That's where I originally played Resident Evil 4.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, the GameCube is, I have certain memories because it's Super Smash Brothers for me, but also
Yep.
my friends and I constantly played Mario Party on the
Oh,
GameCube.
yep. We just had a Mario Party session with my friend Adam when he came into town, and it was a blast. We
I
had a good
love
time.
Mario
Was it?
Party.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. You hated
I wasn't playing. I was just watching. I hate Mario Party.
That's because it's too long.
It's
That's
too long.
yes.
I suck at the mini games.
It's 'cause
You
5
can- you
turns
could be
takes 5
losing the
hours.
whole time and then win.
That's what
And
happened.
hate-
That's what happened to Adam. That he won. He went from 4th to 1st.
Oh, with the bonus stars.
Yeah.
See, Lincoln and I'll play Mario Party, and he'll get mad because I'll win, and I'm just like, sorry, like life isn't fair.
sorry.
Yeah.
Mom's good. Okay.
Oh, I don't let him win. He don't win
Yeah,
nothing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I had the GameCube, but I didn't
Did
have
you-
like a million games for it.
Did you have a TV in your room growing up, Amanda, or was that like a little bit like later in life? Like you didn't have one when you were like 8 or 9, did
No.
you? Okay.
No.
What about you? Did you have one in your room
We never had TVs in our room.
ever?
Not until I was probably late high school.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, both
dang,
of my
dude.
sisters.
I had one when I was like 8.
Oh, both of my sisters,
Yep.
like middle school, high school, had like the little tiny TV VCR
Yeah.
combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I
And-
had was a VCR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a DVD player or something.
I for some reason bought at a garage sale this like huge old Zenith piece of furniture TV, and it had a record player in the top, and I decided I needed it. And so the TV was shit, but like I could kind of play video games on it. And so I had that, but then I eventually got rid of that, and I just had some old piece of shit tube TV, and I'd play video games on that. But I played like my Sega, but I was probably like middle school, high school.
Yeah, see, I remember Sega came out in like 90, and so I was 7 or 8. And I would play Street Fighter and Terminator in my bedroom with my friends. They would come over, and we would stay up till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning playing that at like 7 years old, like Cammy's age.
The problem is now you
Yeah.
put a TV in a kid's room, it's a smart TV, and they can watch anything they
That's
want.
true.
That's right.
You're right. It's not the same. No,
Not the same.
I was relegated to only whatever worked like on that system at that time too.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. So,
yeah.
the original question I had was, what is that game that you're like, I want to go back to that. So what do you, in us reminiscing now, what game hits you guys to like, I want to go back and like, I need to play that again, or I really liked that?
Do you mean something that like I don't play currently?
See,
what-
that's
well,
what
Like
I'm.
haven't played?
What do you play currently?
Well, I mean, I can't say Tetris because like that's still
No,
like, a
but I will
relevant
say,
game.
what would you put Zuma in there?
Oh, Zoom.
That was not childhood.
Oh, that was with us, you and me.
How old is Zuma, Andy?
It's pretty old. It's pretty old.
Older than us?
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was PC first, I think.
So
didn't
I
play
would
it on
say
PC.
for me, yeah, because it was PopCap. I would say for me, the games, there's probably, I'm going to categorize it like this. The game that probably holds a lot of the most nostalgia for me that I'll always go back to is Aladdin for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
The game,
Yeah.
the game that I wish I could play again that I can't play anymore because I'm sure I'd have to download it online or something is Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego.
That's I mean, I remember the show, but I imagine the game was just as fun.
It was a
If
point.
not
So
better,
the
yeah.
game, the PC game was really fun because it was like a point and click adventure, and you're solving riddles, and you're like traveling to different points in time. And
Come on, gumshoes.
yeah, they, you can't buy that and have it work in a regular PC anymore.
No.
Because a lot of them don't even have
yeah.
fucking CD-ROM drives.
You're right. You'd have to emulate it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one that like I wish I could play again.
Okay. That's fair. What about you?
I just don't know. I mean, like I said, Commander Keen, I recently downloaded it.
Yeah,
so like
you enjoyed
I
that.
kind of already hit that. I wouldn't mind like playing Jazz the Jackrabbit again, but
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
I'm older than you guys, so I like had the Atari experience. Did you guys not have an Atari
No.
or anything like that? So, well, we also had a Commodore 64 where I played Moon Patrol all the time. What, did you guys ever play Moon Patrol? It's like
No.
you're like this vehicle with 3 wheels, and you can shoot up or forward, and you like traverse like this shitty rocky area. And imagine it's Atari graphics, right? And you jump over rocks or like ditches, and if you fall into it, then it's game over, and you have to shoot the enemies as they're coming. And I was like, this is incredible. Like
Okay.
this is so good. And like now when I play it, I'm like, does not hold up.
Apparently in 2021 they re-released Lenny Loose Jocks.
Oh, really? You looked
shit.
it up?
I might have to find that one.
Oh, we gotta. Yeah, that's probably a good one. I mean, honestly, for me, and Ash knows this, I go back to Street Fighter a lot. Like, I enjoy like the character lore, move sets, like anything from like the first Street Fighter. Well, Street Fighter 2, the original Street Fighter on PC is awful, but like Street Fighter 2 all the way through, I've always enjoyed those all the time. I will say though, when I go back and I pop in, like let's say I go, I don't know, 64, right? I'm going back to like Diddy Kong Racing. I'm going back to, I don't know. What's another one that I pop in often when I play 64? Probably like Cruisin'. I like Doom 64, but I know like, that dealt with like more mature themes back then. So not a lot of people probably were allowed to play that type of stuff, but 64 was my jam. So that's one of my favorites. I'll just keep going back to that.
Cool.
Okay.
Welcome to the nostalgia train.
Sure.
All right. Ash fell asleep.
Where can I get off?
Yeah, she's done. She doesn't like video games. Makes her sad. It doesn't make you sad. You just don't you don't feel the same way Amanda and I do about video games.
Correct.
Yes, correct. But at least you and Amanda can share your crime show love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. We fizzled here at the end. Amanda, where can people tell us their favorite retro video game that they have nostalgia for?
I just need to say for the record.
Oh.
You're the reason that it fizzles. Because you make some weird comment.
And we don't know how to respond.
Yep.
They're not wrong.
Yeah. So
They're
anywho,
not wrong.
Come check
Cheese
out the
whiz.
fizzle.
All right.
Jesus. Come check out the fizzle at Instagram at Real Awkward Podcast. We also have a TikTok at Real Awkward Podcast. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Real Awkward Podcast. $3 a month gets you exclusive episodes. And we now have our episodes on YouTube Music. You can go check us out over there, and they will automatically download to your library.
Barbara Brown.
Barbara Brown.
Hello, Real Awkward listeners. The Real Awkward Podcast turns 3 this year. That's right, 3 years of fun, entertaining content for you guys, and we cannot do it without listeners like you. If you guys want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Real Awkward Podcast. For $3 a month, that gets you access to exclusive shows, merchandise, and name shoutouts on the show. We also will take your suggestions for show topics. Thank you so much for 3 years, and we look forward to many more.